Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter from iWalter. Yeah, I wanted to do a show tonight, and I'm going to call it Wrong Turn. Now, I was going to use the poster from the movie with Elijah Dushku, and then I decided, you know what, I better not, because I'm pulling out my keys. My keyboard. Hey, I can actually show people. See, here's my keyboard. Not important, I know. But you know what, you got to be careful, because when you take copyrighted material, you know, which I probably have done in the past, and it's not been a big deal. It never has been up to this point. But when I make more shows that are kind of risky, and I'm getting a little bit more hits, because I think something I promoted on Facebook, on my business page, I call it a business page. It really is not. But I give money towards promoting some stuff. I get a bit more, you know, a bit more on the radar, and I think I got like 750 hits. So, yeah, you got to be careful then, because then that's when they're going to, not for that many. I mean, you'd have to do a lot more than that. Sorry, now I can hear myself. But, yeah, you got to be careful, because it depends who's listening. They could be a real dick about it and get me in trouble and say, oh, Walter's using copyrighted material, and that's a copyright infringement. Well, for what I do, nobody really cares, because I'm basically beyond broke, so you can't bleed a stone. So why I want to call it Wrong Turn was because there was this really bad car accident. I believe it was on Saturday, and it was up on the news, you know, regular news media, blog pages, and some other postings. My friend first brought it to my attention, and I put it on my AOL account. But it was about this limousine that actually was a really bad car accident with this limousine. So it was like, yeah, I'll just do one on that. I'll call it Wrong Turn. It's like really tasteless, tongue-in-cheek. Maybe not even that, but it's tongue-in-cheek humor, despite what you think. I'm actually trying to look when he actually sent it to me now. And by the way, I'm actually promoting one of my shows, because Facebook got me cornered, and I wasn't paying attention. It was like, oh, would you like to promote your show you called Feminazi? And it was like, yeah, okay, for $5 I'll do it. Not even thinking like, yeah, I probably really don't want to do that. So, you know, it was like, screw it. Probably get more attention on that, because that's where you get like attention you don't want. You're going to get people who are going to watch that and say, did you see what that guy put up? He's doing a podcast calling women feminazis. He really hates women. He's a misogynistic dick. And it's not even true, but, you know, that's what's going to come out of it. So, anyway, I was listening to Ken. I found the story, too, 20. I found this. The story was still talked about today because it actually happened. It did happen over the weekend. So, anything that happens over the weekend is going to be talked about, obviously, today, on Monday. So it happened in New York. Anyway, I was listening to Ken Matthews. I had a salad. That's all I'm eating tonight was a salad. I had tuna fish sandwich in the afternoon. Not like anybody really cares. The weekend for me, my highlight, my big thing that I wanted to do over the weekend was watch the new Doctor Who. I've been waiting, seems like forever. It really has not been, but it does seem that way. And it was with Jodie Whittaker. Or as Walter would say, Jodie Whittaker. And if I haven't announced it before, this is iWalter. I am on right now I'm going to try to keep my shows I pray that I can keep them between 15 to 30 minutes because that seems to be like the soft or the sweet spot for people. Like, it's not too much or not too little. Anyway, by the way, in case you don't know, this coming Friday comes that movie called Gosnell. The guy from Philadelphia, from my home. Well, I don't live in Philly. I live in King of Prussia area. But Gosnell, the movie that was made independently, because I think it was Ken Matthews who said you can't make that movie in the left coast, basically. He didn't say it. I'm saying that. But you can't make that movie in Hollywood because everybody would be coming down on you. Because Gosnell was the guy who was giving abortions to women that were actually ready to deliver. They were on their last trimester, and he was aborting babies in a very disgusting practice that he was running. It was disgusting. It was dirty. It looked like that show Hoarders, but even worse. They called it, quote unquote, the House of Horrors. Just checking to make sure I don't have soap in my hands. You ever wash your hands? You don't get all the damn soap off? I use that liquid soap. That's what I'm referring to. And it leaves that tacky residue on your hands. It drives me crazy. And that's a short drive, as Matt would say to me. So anyway, that's coming out this Friday. Now, I wanted to see, after I got my Doctor Who day done. Now, my friend Matt said, well, how long was the Doctor Who? It was a little over an hour. It was an hour and 2 minutes. I would know because I actually have, I bought it on iTunes ahead of time. I didn't think I was going to actually be able to watch these shows. I honestly, I won't be able to watch them on regular TV. Strictly not that they're that horrible. It's just that they have so many damn commercials. The show was an hour and 2 minutes. The actual show, the new Doctor Who. There was an hour worth of commercials. I'm not joking. It was on for 2 hours. An hour and 2 minute show was on for 2 hours. So that means 58 minutes of the program was all commercials. That's over 50% of the time you were viewing Doctor Who yesterday with Jodie Whittaker. Yeah, I did forget. It was 50% of the show and 50% of it was commercials. That's crazy. That was ridiculous. I mean, that was way too many commercials. I don't know anybody who'd want to watch an hour worth of commercials, and I'm not even kidding. It was broadcasted, that particular show of Doctor Who was broadcasted everywhere around the globe at the exact same time. So they were definitely going to cash in on that one, no matter if it was bad or good, because they put it on 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They didn't want to take any chances, but it was an hour worth of commercials for an hour show. I've never heard of such nonsense, and it really was. It was an hour's worth of commercials. They didn't put any extra stuff on until we're going to interview people at the New York Comic-Con from the past weekend, where I didn't know that, Jodie Whittaker was there. So what did they do? They wait until the 2 hour premiere was over, which was only an hour and 2 minutes. And it was, again, an hour's worth of commercials. That's crazy. I mean, that is highway robbery for your, not with your money, but just waste of time. You just wasted 2 hours on an hour show because you had to sit through an hour's worth of commercials. That means like every 2 minutes, and it was about right, every 2 to 5 minutes they had another commercial for about 15, 20 minutes. Well, about 5 to 15 minutes. I mean, it was insufferable. Is that right? Anyway, it was really painful. So, and they played it, though, Doctor Who, that one hour episode, they had to play it at least 24 times. Maybe 20 times. Because after it was over, well, wait a minute, it would be like 10 times then because it had an hour's worth of commercials every time. They repeated the same show over and over and over again for the next 24 hours. So, and then they had a couple interviews with people who claimed they knew everything about Doctor Who, which they pretty much didn't know as much. The one, he was a kid actor at the time who played in Generations. He's on Big Bang Theory all the time. Will Wheaton, he was actually a big Doctor Who fan. Now, him I had it sure on at first because they interviewed him, And Will Wheaton said, like, this woman who had no clue about Doctor Who, somebody they hired out, and it's like, oh, I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I've watched it for at least a month. I know everything about Doctor Who. Yeah. I've only watched it for 40 years. I have no clue what I'm talking about. That's me. I've watched that damn show for 40 freaking years. But I have no clue. Unlike the woman who's watched it for 1 month. And she knows everything ins and outs about Doctor Who. She's the expert on the TV show. According to what everybody else would think. Will Wheaton, though, he said, she asked him, what's your favorite Doctor Who episode? He said, and it was actually Tom Baker, and it was one that scared him. What one was it now? Because I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. I think, and I know it was on Tom Baker's first season. It wasn't Genesis of the Daleks, because was that the first season, Genesis? You know what? That is funny. Matt's going to laugh. It's not even that, hey, this is like rock solid news, but it was a Tom Baker episode, and he said it scared the crap out of him when he was a little kid. I was going to even say The Invisible Enemy, because it was like on that line where the special effects for the monsters were really pretty bad. I remember him saying, when I found out that the monsters were made up of bubble wrap, he said I was kind of surprised, but when he was a little kid, he watched this one Tom Baker episode. I thought Will Wheaton, I think he is younger than me, obviously, but how much younger? Because I used to watch Tom Baker's episodes. My friend Matt did. Most of us watched it on PBS, and they were already reruns. I remember when I was in high school, in fact, in high school, there was me and this other guy in this one shop class I had taken. We were big Doctor Who fans. I said, well, I can't wait to see Peter Davison. And he says, oh, he's crap. Tom Baker was the best. You don't want anybody. He says, I refuse to watch the Peter Davison ones. This was back in the 80s. So, yeah, I mean, Tom Baker was on from 75 because John Pertwee was on from 70 to 1974. He was on for 5 years. And Tom Baker was on from 1975. He was on for 7 years, so you would just basically do the math. 75, what is that, 81? And then Peter Davison came on. Look, I'm going to use my fingers, and you're going to see it this time. I'm using my fingers to count, yo. Okay, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82. So I was right. Wow, I actually could figure out a simple mathematical problem. That's amazing for me. I even impressed myself with that one. So anyway, I'm way off. So this will be a half an hour show. But see, this is why I didn't want Matt to come by. Matt, this is why I didn't want you to come by, because my show is what I want it to be about. That's why I call it iWalter. I'm not going to call it iMatthew and talk about what you want to talk about. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. No offense, Matt. Love you, dude. No, actually, I don't. I hate you. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so I was watching Jodie Whittaker last night. It had no credits in the beginning, no TARDIS, which the TARDIS I can understand. There's been many Doctor Who episodes, no TARDIS. It was very slow pace, and it was like this whole family association thing in the very first episode with a new producer and Jodie Whittaker. You didn't see her quite at first. They kind of just avoided the whole fact that, in last season's episode, Jodie Whittaker actually fell out of the TARDIS. She actually got jettisoned out of the TARDIS. Because when they did Matt Smith, they picked up right where they left off, but I guess the new producer didn't want to be bothered with that. So she miraculously just lands in a train. She falls through a hole in a roof of a train, and she's there. That's it. No explanation about anything. So that was a bit weak. Even Tom Baker, when he had his episode, that kind of had an explanation when he regenerated from John Pertwee to Tom Baker. Same thing with Peter Davison, and same with all of them except the very first one and the second one, because I don't think with William Hartnell or Troughton, they really didn't kind of explain what happened between the regeneration and when they were in a new body. So that part was like, okay, it's a little bit loosely told. The story was a bit weak. I didn't think it was a great alien because it was an alien face. It was an alien. Great voice. kind of interesting look, but the alien would take a tooth out of its victim, take a tooth, and basically embed it in his face. It was like, this is not very impressive. This is kind of like a weak monster or alien. Kind of like, okay, we're ripping off, kind of, not quite, but we're kind of taking a little bit of an idea from Predator, and we're making it kind of ridiculous by putting a tooth from the victim that's human every time. And he basically just, if you can see it on the screen, and going like this, put it on his face somewhere, like his cheek or something. It's like, what is your face made of? Like clay or something that you can actually put the tooth, the molar you took out of that victim's mouth, and just kind of plop it in your face and it stays? I mean, that makes no sense. Stupid. The highlights, though, Jodie Whittaker did an incredible job as Doctor Who. They were correct. She didn't really push the fact that she was a woman. She didn't even know that, or he didn't know he was a female now. That was fine. So she did a good job. She really did. She kind of looked like, or sounded like, she acted like the actors before her, prior to her, mainly more so on the new television program of Doctor Who. You know, she didn't really elaborate, hey, I'm a woman now. Look at me. I'm a female. I got breasts. No, she didn't mention that at all. She didn't really care. The character, the new Doctor Who. It was like, wow, I got a new body. Well, how does it suit me? You know, it's like, oh, I got a new pair of clothes. How does this suit me? I got a new pair of skin. I got new hair. How does it suit me? Does it make me look better? Does it kind of, how's the appearance? Like, you know, hey, I got a new pair of shoes. I mean, that's how she acted like. And I liked that. I thought she did a really good job. Her quirkiness was just like the character is meant to be, Doctor Who. I should have just changed the name of the show at this point, but I'm on. She did an excellent job. That's the thing. She did an excellent job. The story was weak. And what was weaker yet was the whole entire time that they would cut for commercial breaks. Every commercial that was affiliated with the TV show, or anybody that was talking, was saying how this is great for women, how this is advancing women's movement. Well, the whole purpose of having a woman was to get rid of that barrier between men and women. That's the whole point. And this is what really drove me nuts. This kind of fits in with the other things how I believe in stuff. You want to, blur out that line between men and women. That's what you're saying. You don't want women. You want women to be equal to men. You get that chance. You got a character that's been around for 50 years almost. Well, actually, it's over 50 years now. If you go by when it started in 1963. You got that. You got a woman playing a man's character after 50 years. That's great. Jodie Whittaker is doing a job. That is wonderful. But then you gotta press and push the fact that, well, finally we got a woman. Finally there's equal rights because she's a woman. A woman's in this. A woman's in that. A woman. I'm sick and tired of hearing about that. The whole purpose of having a woman, I'm using quotations with my hands, is to blur out that line that we're not looking at this person as being some type of ethnic background. We're not, which was not the case in this. It's a white British woman, but it's a woman. We want to get rid of that gender barrier. Okay, you did, but then all you're doing for the whole entire day yesterday, which was Sunday for me, was talk about how it was a woman. Well, you're supposed to be blurring out that line, but yet you're just basically smacking in everybody's face every 15 minutes when there's commercial breaks. Oh, we got a woman playing Doctor Who. Well, what happened to that? We're going to blur out the line between men and women. You know, it's no longer about gender inequality. It's nothing to do with gender. It has nothing to do with a person's creed. It has everything to do with the character. Well, that got washed out the window the moment they put the show on at 1:45 yesterday. That's all it was about. Was about that, hey, we got a woman. Woo! I don't give a fuck. How you like that one, too? Pardon my French, and I'm not going to even bleep that one out. So, 2 thumbs up. I'm going to show it on the screen. 2 thumbs up for Doctor Who, the new one. 2 thumbs up on the character that Jodie Whittaker put on screen. And 2 thumbs down for the assholes who have no clue about Doctor Who and act like they do and keep on saying, well, this is an advancement for women on a fucking TV show. It's an advancement for women. Go fuck yourselves, ladies. I apologize for being so rude. Actually, I don't. All right, I'm done with that. I just had to get that out. I just spend almost 20 minutes talking about Doctor Who, and it's not what I wanted to talk about. So, Matt, yes, I'm lying. Yeah, this accident, I might as well fit it in because I already made like what do you call it up for an icon, whatever. Actually, I had a little bit more to talk about Doctor Who. I was in Walmart yesterday, the one around the house. Here I found out that BBC has released all the Doctor Who's in box sets. First Doctor to second Doctor. You pay $35. You get them only on DVD. Who gives a crap? Because these shows were initially shot. Even the new ones are shot at lower resolution. They're not shot in 1080p. They're not shot in 4K. They would like you to think they do. No, the show will cost too much freaking money. They're shooting it in regular standard definition. They are shooting it in letterbox, but they're shooting it in standard definition. So why waste your money? So they released the original, or the whole new series of Doctor Who from 2005 up until now. Well, that was, I think, 4 or 5 Doctors now. It was Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi, and now I just did really forget her name. Jodie Whittaker. I'm sorry. I had to make a joke for Matt. And yeah, I did forget it. Yeah, so that's like 5 actors have played the part so far in the last, since 2005 until now. That's been on for, 13 years? That's pretty impressive to bring the show back and still being on after 13 consecutive years, because it pretty much has been that way. So they decided, okay, we're going to release, Eccleston was only on for 1 season, and David Tennant, all the episodes in one box set for $35. It was like, if I knew that, I wouldn't bought all these glorious box sets they put over the years, not knowing they would do such a thing. So I already had all of Eccleston's. I bought it several times probably over the years because I really like Eccleston's series. Even though it was 1 season, it was only 10 episodes, 12 episodes, whatever. David Tennant, I bought his box set years ago. Not now. I bought it. I actually got it as a Christmas present one year. It's like, great, I get all Tennants, but they're all on DVD. It's like, well, they're releasing slowly on Blu-ray. But you know what? The Blu-ray is not that much better, and because they're not really shot, you can't upscale something that's not there. You can try, but it's going to still look like 1080p or whatever. That's the Blu-ray. Oh, no, it's not even 1080p, but it tries to look like 1080p. That's high definition, by the way. So the only ones I did not have were Matt Smith's. But each box set is $35. So you could get all 13 years for the price you would have paid for the 1 box set, which really isn't anything spectacular. So the only episodes I was missing out of the new series of Doctor Who. And I have a lot of Doctor Who DVDs and Blu-rays. I really do. I've been buying tons of them over the years, not all at once. So the only ones I were missing were Matt Smith. And I'm not a big fan of Matt Smith, but I was like, you know what? I love to own all Matt Smiths because he's the only one out of the new series of Doctor Who that I don't have. So here we go. Let me put it up to the camera. And this was at Walmart. You get this. Let me open it up. You get some, digital download and stuff like that. Comes with a bunch of discs. I'll kind of go like this. You can see that on screen. $35. So Walmart has an exclusive where you get this in a bigger box inside the box. You've got a box in a box with extras. It's Walmart exclusive. It's the same exact price you're going to be paying on, its website. The BBC America. I think BBC America is the one behind this, even though it's BBC UK. BBC America's is a bit different from the one in UK because they actually don't show all those commercials, and the TV program is quite different, probably amongst minus some shows that they do show strictly on both networks, America and UK. So it was like, okay, now I can get all the Matt Smiths. That's the only one I was really missing. I really at no point that I know of that I've actually purchase all the Matt Smiths. And then part of the reason was I just didn't really care for them. Again, I bought all of Tennant's because I really liked Tennant as a doctor. I think it's the same problem I have with Whittaker. Like, I love the character of Doctor Who, the way Tennant presented it, but I did not like a lot of the episodes. And it's going to be the same thing, I think, with Whittaker. Like, she played the character, at least in the first episode, really good. It could change. But I think the episodes, I hope I'm wrong, are going to be pretty weak. I'm hoping not. So anyway, you get a free little toy in the box, which was like, okay, that's kind of like a plus, but I have plenty of little figurines hanging around, but it could have been one of the characters from the Doctor Who that everybody knows. So I get this box set, and it's a character I don't even know. I have no clue who it is. I have no clue which Matt Smith character episode this villain came from. I do not recognize it whatsoever. So it's kind of stupid in that way. Now I'm going to check through this to double check, but I'm almost 100% sure I might have bought like maybe one or two of Matt Smith's episodes. Buying a whole series from episode 1 to the last one, no. I did buy all Peter Capaldi's around Christmas of this year. A couple years before that, I had my parents say, "Hey, just get me the David Tennant box set." So they did. And Eccleston only had like 10 or 12 episodes, so that was a cheap one to buy. So I got that when it first came out years ago, obviously. Back in 2006, I guess. I got to just show my sonic screwdriver. Now, that was like interesting. A lot of people like Jodie Whittaker's sonic screwdriver because this was the first time even Will Wheaton said this on the show on one of the interviews they did with him last night. He actually liked the way the new Doctor made from like parts in a scrapyard on Earth. Now it's a she. The Doctor actually made a sonic screwdriver from scratch, like just pulling it like scrap metal. It's kind of funny, some silver spoons, and basically human material. The Doctor made a new sonic screwdriver because the other one got broken or it got lost, got destroyed. So the Doctor made one from scratch from material she found on Earth, but she had incorporated alien technology. So that was really interesting, and I have to agree with Will Wheaton on that one that, yeah, it was interesting to see the Doctor actually, not that they showed much, it was kind of weakened on that too, but okay, yeah, this is definitely an alien. They're making alien technology out of scrap heap of metal and other parts, stupid stuff that was laying around. So that was pretty cool. I'll say that. Okay, it's been a half an hour show just about Doctor Who. It looks like I'm going to lie on both parts, not only to Matt, but twice to myself. I thought it was going to be a 15 to 20 minute show or a half hour show. It's going to probably be an hour at this point because I never got to the point. And, I can't think what else to say on that part. Not important. So, yeah, there was this accident. That's why I wanted to call it Wrong Turn. Like I said, I'm trying to avoid, as much as I saw Elijah Dushku years ago in person, she is a lovely person. She was incredibly nice to me, too. That's always a plus for Walter. You be nice to me, I'll brown nose you, not that it's going to get you anywhere that you're not already at. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to brown nose and speak up about Elijah Dushku, and she's going to make millions of dollars. She won't even make a freaking penny off of me if I promote her. What am I thinking? What are you thinking, for that matter? So, anyway, there was this accident, and I thought I put it up, but I guess I didn't. I thought I posted the story, but but 20 people died yesterday. That's the main thing. 20 people had died in a limousine accident. And the problem with that is, though, that these people were in a limousine that looked like it was in really bad shape. I heard this on, because Ken Matthews was talking about it today. It was in really bad shape. I wouldn't even get into there. I told some friends, I said, listen, if I saw a limousine that looks like it was on its last leg, I wouldn't get into it. And there was some signs that should have told these 20 people, don't do it. Because apparently the first limousine they were supposed to get into did not work. They couldn't start up the car, whatever it was. Because limousines is just a phrase. It's just basically a car or an SUV that's been extended, and they call it a limousine or a limousine service. But technically, it really is not necessarily a limousine at all. You know, it could be I think it was like a Ford Escalade or something like that they stretched it out. So, but the cars, quote unquote, that were limousines were in sad shape. So here you go. The first one was a mess. The second could not start. The second one was a mess. You find out today, this afternoon, that the person was driving had no license or did not have, quote unquote, the way the news had said it this afternoon, didn't have a license to drive that particular type of vehicle. Okay, so you don't have the right license or you don't have a license at all. That alone, I think they should present that to you. Well, you know, a limousine driver doesn't have to tell you they have a license. Well, I would probably question it right after the fact that the cars look like total crap. And they look like they could barely run. So that's like red flag number one. I wish I would have a red flag. I have a red card, my movie pass, so I'm going to use this as a red flag. Red flag number one, the car that you're driving is very shady, and one did not work. That's red flag number one. Actually, I do have Superman's cape, but I'm not going to take it off. My little Superman action figure. I'll ruin that. I should use that, though. So that's problem number one. The accident itself is just is a joke in itself. Somebody apparently before they died had texted and said, before they died, they texted their parents and said, yeah, I don't think that this is a very good vehicle we're driving in. It looks like it's a mess. It looks like it shouldn't be on the road. It was something online somebody texted. It's like, well, if you think that the car looks very shabby and dangerous, why did you get into it? I mean, that makes no sense to me at all. I mean, you have to be a complete idiot, which apparently they were. I'm sorry. And this happened in New York. I'm always complaining about all the New York drivers around here, like they can't drive properly, and that they drive excessively fast, and they are very obnoxious. Well, that all the above was probably there. I hate to tell you, because this happened somewhere in New York. I'm going to let you know that. So 20 people got killed. And apparently witnesses, key eyewitnesses, said that this limousine that should have been on the road with somebody with not a license was driving 60 miles an hour on a 90-degree turn. How do I know that? Because it was posted on, I heard, look, I'm pointing at my ear right now, so it's probably coming through on the mic. I heard on the news segment today on the radio that the SUV, which was a stretch SUV limousine, was trying to make a 90-degree turn at 60 miles an hour. 90 degrees. That's like making almost beyond a U-turn. And the reason why they were going why it was a 90-degree turn, because it was a three-way intersection. And I know I knew one in particular. In particular, around New York, that does have three ways that you go. Actually, it might have been Jersey. So a three-way intersection, which means it's probably one of those roundabout things to make turns. The person was going 90 degrees, and they lost control of the car. Now, they said that the car did not pass inspection either. So you had an unlicensed driver, number one, or a person who did not have the proper license, one of the or the other. They were driving 60 miles an hour at a 90-degree bend because it was a three-way turn, and they went through a stop sign. They did not stop for a stop sign. They just went right through it because it is a three-way intersection. So what else do I need to tell you that this the whole thing is just beyond fishy, for one thing. It's ridiculous. So, hey, 20 people lost their life. That's nothing to joke about. 20 people losing their life that shouldn't have because they should have known better is a different story, in my opinion. So it's up to you what you want to take from it or make out of it. But, I don't want to say anything else because I'll just get reprimanded for saying what I did. But it's the truth. You got the facts and you got these let's put this story on little cushions or something like, oh, we got to just kind of prance around what actually happened. You have a person who should not be behind a wheel because they did not have a license. You had a car that did not pass inspection, a stretch and limousine, and you had the person who was driving excessively fast on a 90-degree turn. And there was witnesses. So the rest is just plain stupidity, and I just question it. I wanted to make a big deal out of this, by the way, simply because I complain about this all the time around here, where we got out-of-state license people with out-of-state license plates that come through our development. Speed limit says 25 miles an hour. They go pretty much like 60 to 90 miles an hour through a 25-mile zone. I've reported to the police. I went up to the police station, reported to them. The next day, I think it was like a couple days after I reported to the police, hey, you need to do something about this. Oh, we don't have enough people to supervise this situation you're talking about. And plus, quote unquote, the police officer that I had spoken to, or detective, said, well, we've actually looked into the suspicions of, not from me, but from other people, about people racing through your development. I know exactly what we were talking about. 3 days later, there was a serious car accident where some car did not stop, went through a stop sign, again, around where I live, right on my street, and plowed a car off the road up somebody's yard. Like they literally pushed the car into the yard. So you don't do that by going 15 miles an hour. You don't do that even going 35 miles an hour. You do that from going excessively fast. So this is why I'll take that story about this limousine thing. I'll take it to heart because there's a lot of idiots around here. I apologize, but there's a lot of idiots around here. And nothing is done about it until somebody gets killed. Now, I did mention to a friend, I don't know which one now, that when they make up these signs that say, okay, you can only go 25 miles here, you can only go 35 miles here. And I told the friend, I said, they're not making up these plates because it was either myself or my father is continuously complaining to the police department, listen, you need to do something about it. These people are going between 60 to 90 miles an hour, and it says only 25. You know how they determine these signs? Because I remember I saw this somewhere years ago. I looked this stuff up, or I heard about it. They determine what the speed should be on that road by doing tests. PennDOT for us, Pennsylvania, or somewhere else. They figure out how fast you can go and also keep control of your car or your SUV or whatever you're driving. They determine how fast you can go and still maintain, control over your car without causing any serious bodily harm to yourself or anyone else. So they determine how fast you can go, how long it takes you to brake, how long it would take you, even if you were going at this certain speed. Because I maybe this was in driver's ed school from years ago. I think that's where I probably learned this stuff. Because I remember when I was taking driver's ed back in Methacton High School centuries ago, the first thing they taught you about is why you keep at a certain speed. Like say you're going 35, you keep 2 car spans. I don't remember the exact number. You're going 45, you keep 4 car spans. They determined that because at a certain speed, it will take you longer to come to a complete stop. So this stuff is all mathematically figured out when they make road signs and they determine how fast a person can go on a certain road. Now, if it's open terrain like off-road, I don't know, not off-road terrain, but somewhere like the Autobahn, because I always used to hear that joke, these people drive, like my father would say that years ago, these people drive like they're on the Autobahn in Germany, because the Autobahn has no speed limits. Well, why is that? Because it's open road for miles. It's open road for miles. And there is no speed limits because the highways are pretty wide. They can handle people driving at high speeds because you simply, there's enough lanes for you to do so. When you're in a small development with 2 lanes, one for the right and one for the left, you can't go 120 miles an hour, because there was one accident where the kid was actually clocked, I think, at 120 miles an hour, and I think that was around Pottstown, I think. And he obviously got killed. So at 120 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, 110 miles an hour, you can't go 20 yards and stop on the dime if a kid's crossing the street. Or you can't stop on a dime if the car in front of you is actually going 35, which is the speed limit. It would take you probably, I would guess, about 25 car spans to even remotely slow down. So this is why they make speed limits. And by the way, the people who got killed in that limousine car accident, that car that killed that limousine service that killed all those people had drove into a parked SUV. So to make add insult to injury, the person who killed all those people with no license also ran into going 60 miles an hour around a 90-degree turn, bend, drove into a parked car, an SUV. So that really just adds insult to injury. I mean, how stupid can one be? I don't know, because if that doesn't prove anything, I don't know what can. So, I think my friend Matt wanted to come over and join in on the fun against me, because I was not going to talk about politics, and I kind of at this point would say that I wouldn't, but I will mention, because my friend Matt actually brought it up to me. It's the only reason I knew about it. And Trump spoke about it now. It was about Taylor Swift, where she was like basically lashing out, like she has no clue. Taylor Swift has no clue about politics. She never wished to discuss any political views because she's an entertainer. She's a person who was born originally around where I live in Pennsylvania. Not quite the same area, but she was born in Pennsylvania. But now she decides to bash out against Marsha Blackburn. And, I'm a Twitter follower of Taylor Swift, but honestly, I only do it. I look at a couple pictures. I never read what she's talking about. I couldn't tell you the first thing that she was talking about, or what's on her mind. Minus that, who's her new boyfriend for the week before the guy decides to dump her. So I have no clue otherwise. I like her as an entertainer. I think she's definitely got some good music out there. But she had a lash out again on Marsha Blackburn. And it's funny because one article says Trump says he likes Taylor Swift about 25% less now after she lashed out on Marsha Blackburn. And she's got a lot of followers, like 100,000 or whatever it is. That's actually not that many. Taylor Swift, but she's going to have a lot less probably, depending on who these people are. Oh, actually, wait, I'm wrong. She's got 112 million, so I was way off. So, yeah, she does have a lot of followers. Now, are these followers, such as me, going to take that seriously? Well, if Taylor Swift doesn't like Marsha Blackburn, I shouldn't either. No, because the fucking woman doesn't know what she's talking about. So why am I going to worry about that? She has no freaking clue anything about politics. I mean, it's like you yourself getting news information off of iWalter. Well, if you want to, you can. I'd appreciate it. But most of my stuff is on speculation. Some of it's actually on articles I read, which I can't. I try to tell you a solid evidence on what I'm talking about, but it's the whole point of my show is just for pure entertainment and just let myself vent. So there you go, Matt. Well, Walter, you said like you got all these facts. I never try to get facts. I try to get facts. Let me rephrase that. I do try to get the facts. They may not come out that way, but I do. But it's a podcast. This is not like, if you use this as, what do you call it? Fox News is iWalter. I feel really bad for you, dude. I really do. You really would have to get a life then, because if you think that the stuff I'm saying is bogus and it's incorrect, and you really need to follow up on your facts, then, dude, you need to get a life, because this is just a freaking podcast that nobody listens to still. And I don't care. I'm enjoying myself doing this. I really do enjoy just doing this. So anyway, maybe that's what I want to say about this whole thing, and this whole backlash with these people. And Lady Gaga is another one. I really wanted to go see her movie this weekend, and I didn't. Well, partially because of Doctor Who coming out. I also wanted to see, A Star is Born. I wanted to see it like today, and I was like, forget it. It's Columbus Day. I'm going to have all these feminazis coming after me in the theater. Not that they will, but I don't want to hear people saying, well, look, this is a movement for women. Woohoo! I don't really care. I want to watch the movie and enjoy it and not have to be hear people's political views on Lady Gaga. So I really wanted to see it, but then my friend Todd had sent me a link where Lady Gaga had to speak out. Like, now that she's made some fame for herself as an actress. Now, some people would say supposed actress. Now, all of a sudden, Lady Gaga has got to speak out about politics and how she's a rape victim. And, hey, I'm not saying that if you're a rape victim, you should just basically keep your mouth shut. No, I don't agree with that at all, and I'm not saying that. But you're bringing up about your, alleged rapes, Lady Gaga, and trying to compare those to, Ford, who probably was raped at some point or sexually abused, but making these accusations about somebody that obviously it would seem like, I'm going to say seem like to me, was not Kavanaugh. And trying to support somebody who was caught lying endlessly on these trials, meaning Ford, and supporting that fact, I would just kind of rub it off. And I told my one friend, Matt, there were rape victims that came forth and said, I support Kavanaugh because even though I'm a rape victim, I can see that he was not the one who raped Ford. That this whole thing is just is made up on lies. And I've heard this from different cases. That's all I'm saying. Again, this is not Fox News, Matt. Just let you know, it's not Fox News. So my facts aren't going to go anywhere. Even if they're just speculated, it's not even facts, but just speculation. I'm just telling you, it's a podcast, just trying to remind you of that fact, because it seems like you forget sometimes. Anyway, I did pull up a couple articles. I want to end it there because it's actually going to be an hour show, unfortunately. I apologize. On different posts, one was on the Washington Times. I don't know when it was dated, and it was definitely pertaining to Kavanaugh or around that situation. It was titled False Reports of Sexual Assault, Not as Rare as Claimed Studies Show. But anyway, it goes on. It says Brent E. Turvey, a criminologist, wrote in 2017, so that was like last year, a book that dispels this notice. His research, now it says in the beginning, like, okay, a lot of these alleged rapes are really happening, basically. But then it dispels it according to this not paragraph, it's like an article written in the Washington Times where somebody wrote a book last year, this Brent Turvey, and it says his research and that of two co-authors cited statistical studies and police crime reports. one academic study showed that as many as 40% of sexual assault charges are false. 40%, that's a little bit high. It says that Mr. Turvey wrote that the FBI in the 1990s pegged the falsely rate at 8% for rape or attempt of rape complaints. But overall, it was like 40% of the sexual assault charges are false. Now, the 8% sounds a little bit more realistic, in my opinion, than the 8% that it mentions in another part of this article. Because I did listen to, this got me started, by the way, because I was listening to Ken Matthews today. And Ken Matthews had some callers that were calling in. One was actually saying that, let me see if I can find this, because I wrote it down to remind myself in a text. So I'm going down. I actually sent it to somebody else to remind myself. Okay, here we go. Anyway, it was like 23. Okay, I remember now because I'm just reminding myself about this stuff. Ken Matthews had some article. I don't know where he pulled it, but he actually did say in the military, like the Air Force, that all the allegations of women who are saying, oh, I was sexually assaulted by whoever in the military, you know, it's not as high, but it is up there a bit. It was like 23% of these sex allegations where a woman in the military said that she was sexually abused. 23% of them were found to be false because they do more background, more thorough background checks. They do DNA, if the woman was raped, okay, let's see if there's, let's do a DNA test to prove that you were raped. Let's do the test right away because you're in the military. We're not going to, you're in the military and you got raped. We need to check into this. We will do a full investigation. We will do a DNA test. We will test things out on yourself. We will get the person who is responsible for raping you. We will look into that. And out of these allegations, 23% were found to be that the women were lying. So, it depends how you look at it. You can say, well, 23% isn't that high. To me, that seems awfully uncomfortably high. If, you were accused of sexually assaulting a woman, and out of 100%, 23% of these cases were found to be based on lies. And that's like, to me, that's like kind of high. Yeah, I wrote it down. I actually did write a text to myself to remind myself because when I heard it, I made sure to put it down right away. And I'm actually almost at an hour, so I apologize. 23% of the women who make these sex allegations I wrote in my text in the military were proven to be false. So again, that's a bit high. I'm just telling you. So there's another article. I put up like 3 articles after this. It was from Snoops, some website called snoops.com, and it says, are 99% of the rape allegations absolutely fabricated? Like, it was with a question mark. And it kind of goes on to say, yeah, it kind of is. And I don't believe that. Trust me, I do not believe that. Excuse me. In reference to an accusation against Kavanaugh, Mississippi State Senator Chris McDaniel repeated this claim during an interview on American Family Radio on the 17th of September 2018, which was stating that 99% of the rapes from women are false. Again, I would have to say I don't believe that. I don't believe that 99% of the women out there are lying about their rapes. And but I think there is a good chunk that are. Now, the problem with that I have, because I've known girls from the past when I was in my 20s. I knew people that I was friends with in my situation when I was younger, like my late teens, early 20s, that were friends of mine. And a lot of them, there wasn't that many. It was like less than 6. I would say about 2, maybe 3 girls that were friends of mine that were all rape victims, and one was actually by her father. So, yeah. So to say that 99% of the women out there are lying, I would have to say I disagree with that. 23%, which is fairly high of women lying about themselves being sexually assaulted, is actually pretty bad. So anyway, the Snoops, actually, if you do read that, it's kind of lengthy, but you will find out statistically, yeah, it's not what I'm guessing. It's not 99%. It's more like, realistically, it's about 5%. In the military, it's much higher of women lying about being raped because I guess the percentage of women in the military is probably not quite as strong as it is with men. And, you know, men being surrounded by other men, probably the chances of a woman getting sexually assaulted, I would assume, would be higher because, you know, in real life, women are the minority. There's more women than there are men. Not on what they make, not what kind of job they decide to get, but just in general, like physical bodies, there is more females than there are males. So if that makes any sense, if you're in the military and there's more men than women, and women have a higher sex drive, I would assume that I'm just, again, never assume, but I'm going to assume that the chances of a woman getting raped is going to be probably a bit higher. So, obviously, but you know what, though, then I'm contradicting myself. I just realized that, well, actually not, because that's like me saying that 70% of the women are not getting raped, but 23% are getting raped. So, no, wait, I am not contradicting myself. Because you think about it, in the real world, where there's more women than men, the percentage is even lower yet. So it's like a 15% margin difference between women in the military and women in the real world. Bottom line is, you know, this is why we need other things besides a polygraph test as well, because obviously the polygraph test has been proven wrong. It is easy to rely on a polygraph test because it just looks for changes in body temperature, perspiration, and heart rate. And, you know, if you're a very nervous person, you're going to look guilty even when you're not. So anyway, yeah, check that one out on snoops.com. That's SNOPES. And it's titled, Are 99% of Rape Allegations Absolutely Fabricated? It is with a question mark. So if you have any questions, it's just trying to look into the statistics on what is actually factual and what is not. Now, there was one from theguardian.com. I believe that's a paper from England. And that one said, UK criminal justice, 109 women prosecuted for false rape claims in 5 years, says campaigners. It states that charity accuses authorities in the UK of pursuing cases against rape complaints more aggressively than other countries. So this one actually was on, you probably have heard about it before. It's called The Guardian. Kind of an interesting article. You know, again, I don't want to go into this kind of stuff because then I'll get some backlash. I'm like, well, you're not pronouncing everything correctly or anything else. I like to keep my shows lighthearted. I like to be able to have some fun with them, or even just if it's the other way around for me and I like to complain, I just want to complain and not have anybody correct me that, oh, you're not complaining correctly. That makes no sense to me. So I like to enjoy myself. I'm actually at an hour, so I was wrong. I thought I would get it 15 minutes, so it happens. It happens. And I will be going back to work soon, so I'm going to go back to work in the next 3 days. Wait, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, 3 days. Anyway, there was one thing that was kind of entertaining my friend Todd put up and posted on my webpage earlier this morning. It's not entertaining. It's just kind of like depressing, actually. It was from the Daily Mail. I didn't realize that. It was actually marked 2 days ago. And I just saw it today. That's pretty bad. Anyway, it says a group of thugs attacked this 13-year-old kid. It was a boy. When you look at the video, it's like a surveillance camera. I swear to God, I'm still looking at it. I apologize. I don't mean to swear. But I still think it's a freaking girl. Because from the surveillance camera, it looks really blurry, too. This kid gets attacked, and has stolen off of him his Nike sneakers and his iPhone. I think my friend sent it to me because I actually own both, and I wear Nike sneakers, even after the fact that you shouldn't be buying or promoting Nike because the way that particular football player, whoever it is, I don't follow football because I really don't care about it, was attacking Trump and everything like that. Well, we should boycott Nike products now. You know what? I really could care less. I wear whatever I want to wear. Right now, I actually have Reeboks on. I should show people that, but I got a pair of Reeboks on. So I'm safe. It says these thugs are attacking a 13-year-old boy, because it's like one of these video things. I don't want to play it. Oh, wait. For his Nike trainers. What the freak are Nike trainers? They're trying to steal his Nike trainers. Again, I don't know what I'll have to look that one up. But the boy is trying to fight back. I think they get his shoes because I thought he looked shoeless. The person I thought was a girl. Then the teens gang kick him in the ribs. A 13-year-old boy. So this is really bad. This is going to be over an hour, by the way. It already is. By 13 seconds. And rip his expensive, shoes off his feet. I mean, what kind of society do we live in? They also take his mobile phone, which I believe they said it was an iPhone. Maybe I exaggerate on that one. So he can't even call. It says he can't call for help because they stole his phone in his sneakers. They flee the scene with his possessions. It states, and they are still on the loose. So this was in the Daily UK Mail. I don't know where this happened. Just because it says a 13-year-old boy was attacked and it's from the Daily UK Mail, it could be in the U.S. This post couldn't be this surveillance video footage couldn't be from the U.S. because a lot of times they do that. So, already I went like 4 times the length that I actually intended to go, so I apologize. What's kind of interesting? My mother's told me, so this is going to go longer, over an hour. I'm sorry. My mother said, "Oh, you know what? Beginning of the month, they're going to be showing all these horror movies on some TV station." So I asked her repeatedly, "Okay, which channel is it? TMC or is it TNC? Turner Broadcasting? Is it Turner Broadcasting? Is it AMC? Is it Sci-Fi?" Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, well, you should know. You saw it on the channel. You should let me know because I love horror movies. So she can't figure out which channel it was on. So I actually started doing research. I still have no clue. I think she might have meant, because we have Fios at home, and they got rid of 2 horror networks. There was excuse me, there was 2 horror networks. One was, I'm drawing a blank, actually. It was FearNet, and there was another one. I think it was called Chiller. Well, both of them basically were removed for some reason. I don't know why, but they were both removed. So, it was like, yeah, well, this really sucks. Let me just see which is actually worth checking out. Let me let you know. Check out Turner Broadcasting because they got some free movies. All you have to do is have some type of cable subscription, which we have. We have Fios, and you get this stuff for free. One of the movies on there, which I was really shocked, I totally forgot about this, was that movie. It was called Deadly Friend. When I was a kid, I saw that movie, or teenager, and that movie freaked me out. It actually really scared the crap out of me. I didn't realize that was a Clive Barker movie. It was pretty bad. It was really bad. But it was also very gory and very disgusting. Now, Christy Swanson actually was the deadly friend in the movie. She got killed by her father, which in the movie, the character, this young girl, cute. Hey, it's Christy Swanson. She's got to be cute. Who also played, Buffy the Vampire Slayer in the movie that Josh Whedon put out before he made the TV series with Sarah Michelle Gellar. And actually, I'm looking at it. I got the picture. I got a picture around the house last year, or was it? It was in Philadelphia. I can't remember. And I looked really bad in the picture with Christy Swanson. I got a picture with her. She looks much older than she did in the movie. It was like, Yeah, Christy Swanson. It's in WizardCon, Philadelphia. It was a year ago. I did it last year. I look like total shit because I look like whoever was cutting my hair, the person I used to go to, basically shaved my freaking head. So I looked really bad. I'm getting a picture of Christy Swanson. She's probably thinking that I'm like some chemotherapy person because I look really bad. And it's bad enough because I loved Christy Swanson. I really do. I liked her in certain movies she played in and stuff. And, she's not doing as much as she used to, but, So, yeah, she was in this movie last night. It's totally free. It's totally uncut. You can get it on Turner Broadcasting, on watch it on your computer, your phone, whatever, on your TV probably. Just pull it up. And then, the Apple products like I do, you can actually start a movie on your computer and just send it right over to your TV set if you have Apple TV, which I have all Apple products. So it was that, and it's all those classic Mummy movies, which actually I own them all at this point. I bought all the Hollywood Mummy movies, not the new ones. I'm talking about the original black and white ones. Not that, hey, those original black and white ones are real mummies. No, that's not the case. You know what I mean, I think. What I'm trying to say is these are the classic, horror monster movies. So that was like, wow, this is really cool. And they're free. So I think you can actually get the original vampire movie as well. That's on Turner as well. So they're doing it for Halloween month. That's what I wanted to say. And again, I'm actually going into next month's podcast at this point because it's so long. So anyway, I was really glad because I was looking through some of these horror networks I have, trying to change, lighten the mood before I end the show. And not even kidding, there was one movie when I was a kid I used to watch on the show Dr. Shock. I used to love this freaking movie that they would show on Dr. Shock on Saturday nights or Saturday afternoons. And when I was a kid, it freaked me out. And it was I never knew the name of this movie. I've asked people for years, what is this movie where these aliens basically had these needles for nails that would come out. They look like syringes or something like that coming out of their hands. And they would intoxicate you with high levels of alcohol. There was these little creepy creatures. It was an old black and white movie. I was like, what's the name of this? Because I remember they inject cows, and the cows were drunk. It was the movie, because I know now, came out in 1957 originally. And it was a creepy movie. But it was actually very entertaining at the same time. It was an old classic movie that Dr. Shock used to show over and over again practically. So it was I asked people, what was the name of that movie? Well, guess what? Somebody actually put it up on one of my Facebook fan base things on horror movies. They put up this movie, and the name of the movie, by the way, is called Invasion of the Saucer Men. When I was a kid, I swear to God, I couldn't get enough of that movie. It scared me. I would have blankets over my head to the point I was sweating to death. But at the same time, I was like, this is really cool. There's these little aliens, the Green Men from Mars kind of thing, really good costumes. I don't know if they were midgets in those costumes. Really good costumes, and it was definitely a very entertaining film. So again, 1957, Invasion of the Saucer Men. So I finally found out the name of this movie probably 50 years after the fact when I was intrigued by this film as a little kid. So, yeah, I thought the whole thing was wow, this is what I love about, I try to tell people, not that I ever hear back. The light just dimmed down because I closed all my stories out. But, yeah, this is why, you can have Facebook, you can have Twitter, and it can be a very, very useful tool. It can be an excellent source of communication on news stories and other things. But it all depends how you use it. Unfortunately, I think a good 80%, probably higher, don't use it that way. And I try to tell my friend Matt, the people that I communicate with on these blog page, or what do you call it, these social media things, I generally try to go for people who have a clue have a clue, on what's going on and around, everyday life, and they'll do the research, or I'll have like Drudge Report on Facebook, or Rush Limbaugh, Ken Matthews, Bill O'Reilly, and there's a lot more, but I'm just I'm throwing out those names. But people who, hey, we really don't like using social media such as those two of Twitter, Instagram, 3. I'm trying to think. There is actually some other ones too that are social media things, which I don't even use anymore. But these different networks, and, they don't want to use them, but they figured, well, other people, our audience members do follow this stuff, and we want to keep people informed, so we'll use it and that on their behalf. We'll use these social networks on their behalf. And these are people who know what they're talking about. I'm talking about talk show hosts I will listen to. So I'll link them to my Facebook page or my Twitter. They're the two big ones. That's what I meant to say. So everyone, everyone, I am really sorry, but this will keep people busy for a while, because you get to see my out-of-shape body for approximately an hour and probably an hour and 11 minutes. So, if you do listen to the show or just break it up into small segments, that's great. Just let me know what you think. Somebody actually did, by the way, the other day on YouTube, because now I'm doing video blogcast. I guess they're called vlogcasts. Somebody commented back, and I have no clue what he meant by this. So I was a little bit confused. But the guy said something about Mexico. And it was one of my things about the nonsense with the Kavanaugh case. I think it was that one. Something about bogusness and, making these accusations about Kavanaugh. The person saw me on YouTube and tried to make some comment that actually made no sense. So I don't mean that in the mean way. That came out really wrong. But if you're trying to make a joke, could you please explain it to me if for some reason you actually suffered through an hour and 11-minute show. So everyone, thank you very much. This is Walter from iWalter. And yeah, I'm going to sign off for now. So have a good one.